Hello everyone. This is Group 5 leader Masood Hassan, and now we are going to start our presentation on cellular respiration. My friend Praveen will start the presentation. Thank you.
Good day for all. My name is Praveen Raj. Now we're going to see the presentation of cellular respiration. First, we see the definition. Glucose and other molecules from food are broken down to release energy in a complex series of chemical reactions that together are called cellular respiration. Cellular respiration is a process that all living things uses to convert the glucose into energy. Autotrophs like plants produce a glucose during photosynthesis. Heterotrophs like humans ingest other living things to obtain glucose. Cellular respiration is a set of metabolic reaction and process that take place in a cell of organisms to convert biochemical energy from nutrition into ATP and then release waste products. The reactions involved in a cellular in respirations are catabolic reaction, which break large molecules into a small ones, releasing energy in the process. These process requires a larger number of enzymes which each perform one specific chemical reaction. Because of the laws of thermodynamics, every time energy is converted from one form to another. Some of the energy is lost as heat. That means that during each of these enzyme catalyzed reactions, some of the original energy from the sugar molecule is lost as heat. There are two types of respiration: aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. Now we see the difference between the aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. In aerobic respiration, oxygen is present when this form of respiration takes place. In anaerobic respiration, oxygen is absent when this form of respiration takes place. In aerobic expiration, gases are exchanged in this form of respiration. In anaerobic respiration, gases are not exchanged in this form of respiration. In aerobic respiration, it can be found in the cytoplasm and the mitochondria. In anaerobic respiration, it can be found only in the cytoplasm. In aerobic respiration, glucose breaks down into carbon dioxide and water. In anaerobic respiration, glucose breaks down into alcohol and carbon dioxide. In aerobic respiration, all higher organisms such as mammals have this type of respiration. In anaerobic respiration, lower organisms such as bacteria and yeast use this type. In other organisms, it occurs during heavy activities. Thank you.
Uh, Good day, everyone. My name is Badal Sharma. Now I'm taking this TVT. Aerobic respiration definition. Aerobic respiration is a process by which organism uses oxygen to turn fuel, such as fat and sugar, into chemical energy. In contrast, anaerobic respiration does not use oxygen. Aerobic respiration requires oxygen. This is the reason why we breathe the oxygen in the form of the air. This type of respiration releases a large amount of energy from glucose that can be stored as ATP. Aerobic respiration happens all the time in the animals and plants, where the most of the reactions occur in the mitochondria. Even some prokaryotes can perform aerobic respiration, though since prokaryote doesn't contain mitochondria, the reactions are slightly different. The overall chemical formula of aerobic respiration can be written as C6H12O6 plus 6O2, which gives 6CO2 plus 6H2O plus 38 ATP approximately. Next. Aerobic respiration is divided into three major types. First is glycolysis, second is citric acid cycle or Krebs cycle we can say, third is oxidative photophosphorylation. First, glycolysis takes place in the cytoplasm or cytosols with the help of oxidative decarboxylation link reaction cycle, also known as link reaction. This reaction link glycolysis and citric acid cycle. It occurs in mitochondria. P-citric acid cycle, or we can say Krebs cycle, takes place in the matrix of mitochondria. Third is oxidative photophosphorylation, takes place in the inner mitochondrial membrane with the help of electron transport chain. Help in the process of oxidative photophosphorylation takes place in the cystia of mitochondria.
Good day everyone. I'm Mahalakshmi and I'm here to explain about glycolysis. Glycolysis is the metabolic pathway that converts glucose into pyruvate. Glycol is the first step in both aerobic and anaerobic respiration, and the glycolysis process takes place in cytoplasm. Glycolysis is a sequence of 10 enzyme catalyzed reaction. Most monosaccharides such as fructose and galactose can be converted to one of these intermediates. These intermediates may also be directly useful rather than just utilized as steps in the overall reaction. For example, the intermediate hydroxy acetone phosphate (DHAP) is a source of the glycerol that combines with fatty acid to form fat. Next. Glycolysis process occur in two major steps: the preparatory or the investment phase, wherein the ATP is consumed; the payoff phase, wherein the ATP is produced. Next. So we'll go into the glycolysis cycle. The preparatory phase, wherein starting from glucose, the glucose is converted into glucose 6-phosphate, which is being catalyzed by the enzyme hexokinase. Here, the ATP in this step, the ATP molecule is being converted into ADP, and this step is known as phosphorylation. Glucose 6-phosphate is being converted into fructose 6-phosphate by the use of an enzyme, phosphoglucoisomerase. And the fructose 6-phosphate is being converted into fructose 1,6-bisphosphate using an enzyme known as phosphofructokinase. And here also ATP is being converted into ADP, and this step is known as phosphorylation. Fructose 1,6-bisphosphate is being converted into dihydroxyacetone phosphate and glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate using an enzyme known as aldose. These two compounds are interchangeable using an enzyme isomerase. Next, the payoff phase. And here the glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate is being converted into 1,3-bisphosphoglycerate using an enzyme triose phosphate dehydrogenase. And now in this step, NAD plus is being converted into NADH. 1,3-bisphosphoglycerate is converted into 3-phosphoglycerate using an enzyme phosphoglycerokinase. And in this step, ADP is being converted into 2-ATP. 3-phosphoglycerate is converted into 2-phosphoglycerate by the enzyme known as phosphoglyceromutase. And 2-phosphoglycerate is again converted into phosphoenol pyruvate using an enzyme known as enolase. And in this step, dehydration takes place wherein 2 molecules of water is being removed. Phosphoenol pyruvate is being converted into pyruvate by an enzyme known as pyruvate kinase. And again here, 2 ADP molecule is converted into 2 ATP. So the overall reaction is, in the step 1 and 3, ATP molecules is being consumed, and in step 7 and 10, ATP molecule is produced, and in step 6, 2 NADH is being produced. Next. So the overall glycolysis reaction is glucose is being converted into glucose 6-phosphate, glucose 6-phosphate to fructose 6-phosphate, fructose 6-phosphate to fructose 1,6-bisphosphate, fructose 1,6-bisphosphate to GLAP or DHAP, GLAP again into 1,3-bisphosphoglycerate, 1,3-bisphosphoglycerate into 3-phosphoglycerate, 3-phosphoglycerate into 2-phosphoglycerate, 2-phosphoglycerate into phosphoenol pyruvate, phosphoenol pyruvate into pyruvate. So the net equation is C6H12O6 plus 2 ADP plus 2 PI plus 2 NAD gives 2 pyruvate, 2 ATP and 2 NADH, wherein C6H12O6 is glucose, PI is a phosphate group, NAD plus and NADH are electron acceptors or carriers, and ADP is the adenosine diphosphate. So the net product of this reaction is 2 ATP, 2 NADH and 2 pyruvate molecules. Thank you.
Hi, I am Amita. We can see about oxidative decarboxylation. The oxidative decarboxylation of pyruvate is the reaction that occurs after glycolysis in the mitochondrion. But before the citric acid cycle, the reaction is catalyzed by the pyruvate decarboxynase complex to form acetyl-CoA. The reaction may be simplified as 1 pyruvate plus NAD plus CoA to give 1 acetyl-CoA plus NADH plus CO2 plus H2H plus. Pyruvate decarboxylation is the step that connects glycolysis and Krebs cycle. In glycolysis, a single glucose molecule containing 6 carbon and split into 2 pyruvate has 3 carbon in each. Because of this, the link reaction occurs twice of each glucose molecule to produce a total of 2 acetyl-CoA molecules, which can then enter the Krebs cycle. Then the process of link reaction. It is named as link reaction because it links the products of glycolysis with the aerobic process of the mitochondria. Pyruvate is transported from the cytosol into the mitochondrial matrix by carrier proteins on the mitochondrial membrane. The pyruvate loses a carbon atom called decarboxylation, which forms a carbon dioxide molecule. The two C compounds then form an acetyl group hydrogen from NAD plus is reduced to NAD. The acetyl compound then combines with coenzyme A to form acetyl coenzyme A or acetyl-CoA. As glycolysis splits glucose into 2 pyruvate molecules, the link reaction occurs twice per molecule of glucose. Per glucose molecule, the link reaction produces acetyl-CoA twice NADH.
My name is Pawan Kumar. I'm going to discuss about link reaction. The starting compound in the link reaction is pyruvic acid or pyruvate, the molecule that comes out of glycolysis. As you can see in the above, the two pyruvates are generated for each molecule of glucose that enters glycolysis through glucose to glucose was pretty worked out during glycolysis with enzymes using its chemical bond energy to generate 2 NADPH and 2 ATPs. Pyruvic acid still has plenty of energy that cell can harvest. That harvest begins in the link reaction, which can be organized into 3 steps. In the first step, the link reactions begin with the pyruvic acid diffusing into the mitochondrial matrix through mitochondrial membrane. As pyruvate enters, the enzyme snip off its carboxyl group, which you can see on the left side of the structural formula of pyruvate. Is the carbon that double bonded to one oxygen and then attached to the second oxygen that has a negative charge. Snipping of the carboxyl group releases a molecule of carbon dioxide. That carbon dioxide makes up one third of the carbon dioxide generated in total cellular respiration. In the second step, the enzyme take what left of pyruvate and oxidize it. The energetic electrons harvested in this oxidation flow to mobile electron carrier NAD+, reducing it to NADH. What we're left with is a 2 carbon molecule that's called as an acetyl group as C2H3O. Enzymes attach this acetyl group to coenzyme A, which acts as a kind of shuttle, delivering the acetyl group to the Krebs cycle. This combination of an acetyl group and coenzyme A is called acetyl coenzyme A. The chemical bonds in acetyl group are full of potential energy. During the Krebs cycle, those bonds will power the formation of ATP, NADH, and FADH2. If you are going to summarize the link reaction, next slide, please. If you are going to summarize the link reaction, as we can go with acetyl coenzyme A is then ready for the use of Krebs cycle. Acetyl coenzyme A brings the chemical energy into the cycle in the form of 2-carbon acetyl group. The link reaction is important as acetyl coenzyme A is needed for the Krebs cycle. The enzymes discharge the 2-carbon acetyl group from acetyl coenzyme molecule called oxalic acid. The purpose of the link reaction is convert pyruvate into acetyl, which is needed for the Krebs cycle, the next process in cellular respiration. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Aditi Rajan. In this section, I'm going to present you about the next step of aerobic respiration, also known as tricarboxylic acetic acid or citric acid cycle. This Krebs cycle is a series of enzyme catalyzed reaction occurring in the mitochondrial matrix, where acetyl coenzyme is oxidized to form carbon dioxide and coenzymes are reduced with generate ATP in the electron transport chain. Two molecules of acetyl coenzyme are produced from each glucose molecules. So 2 turns of Krebs cycles are required, which yield 4 carbon dioxide, 6 NADH, 2 FADH2, and 2 ATPs. The steps were happening on the Krebs cycles were: the first step is concentration of acetyl coenzyme A with 4 carbon compound oxoacetate to form 6 citrate. Coenzyme A is released. This reaction is called catalyzed by the citrate synthesis. The citrate is converted to isomer, isocitrate. The enzyme actinonize catalyze the reaction. In step 3, isocitrate undergo the dehydrogenation and decarboxylation to form 5-carbon alpha ketoglutarate. A molecule from CO2 is released. Isocitrate is dehydrogenase catalyze the reaction. It is an NAD dependent enzyme. NAD plus is converted to NADH. It's a redox reactions were happening on there. On step 4, alpha ketoglutarate undergo oxidative decarboxylation to form succinyl coenzyme A and 4-carbon compound. The reaction is catalyzed by alpha ketoglutarate dehydrogenase enzyme complex. One molecule of CO2 is released and NADH is converted to NADH. Succinyl coenzyme A form succinate. The enzyme succinyl coenzyme A synthesize catalyze the reaction. This is coupled with the substrate level phosphorylation of GDP to get GTP. GTP transfer its phosphate to ATP forming ADP to forming ATP. Succinate is oxidized by the enzyme succinate dehydrogenase to furanate. In this process, FAD is converted to FADH2. Furanate gets converted to malonate to addition of 1H2O. This enzyme catalyzes this reaction is fumarase. In step 8, malonate is dehydrogenated to form oxoacetate, which combines with another molecule of acetyl coenzyme A and start a new cycle. Hydrogens removes to get transferred to NADH, forming NADH2. Malonate dehydrogenase catalyze this reaction. Next step. Oh, these were the steps where we discussed about the Krebs cycle. Actually, Krebs cycle is a 2-cycle process due to the pyruvic acid has 2 glucose. Thank you.
Hello, this is Madhu Tiwari, and I am going to explain the topic oxidative phosphorylation. Oxidative phosphorylation is a process in which ATP is formed as a result of the transfer of electrons from NADH or FADH2 or O to a series of electron carriers. This process, which takes place in mitochondria, is a major source of ATP in aerobic organisms. Steps. Oxidation steps. Electron transport chain NADH plus H plus O2 gives NAD plus H2O. FADH2 plus O2 gives FAD plus H2O. Phosphorylation steps. Chemiosmosis. ADP plus phosphate gives ATP. Now the next slide. Electron transport chain. Electron transport chain is a set of enzyme which is located on the inner mitochondrial membrane, and it is the main source of energy in the aerobic pathway of energy generation. Now back to the slide. The electron transport chain is a series of protein complexes that transfer electrons from electron donors to electron acceptors via redox reactions, both reduction and oxidation occurring simultaneously, and couples this electron transfer with the transfer of protons across the membrane. The electron transport chain is built up of peptides, enzymes, and other molecules. Electron transport chain comprises of the following: complex 1 NADH dehydrogenase, complex 2 succinate dehydrogenase, complex 3 cytochrome BC1, complex 4 cytochrome A2A3, complex 4 ATP synthase. Next slide. Next slide. Here we can see in the diagram. Electron transfer begins when the NADH donates it to the first complex. In the first complex, the electrons first received by the FMN group. The FMN then donates the electrons to FES, iron sulfur protein. These are redox reactions. In the next step, the iron sulfur protein donates the electron to the coenzyme Q. Q is the ubiquinone, which is freely permeable molecule inside the inner mitochondrial membrane. These redox reactions generate energy which is used to pump to 4 hydrogen ions from the matrix of mitochondria into the inner membrane space. The coenzyme Q then combines with 2 hydrogen ions from the matrix of mitochondria and get converted into the reduced form of ubiquinone. Now coming to the second complex, succinate dehydrogenase complex. This complex contains enzyme succinate dehydrogenase. The succinate dehydrogenase catalyzes the succinate to fumarate into Krebs cycle. This is the oxidation reaction which causes the generation of FADH2. FADH2 is still inside the second complex and donate electron to the iron sulfur complex of the complex second. Then electrons are transferred to the ubiquinone. Ubiquinone is freely permeable, which is used to transfer the electrons to the third complex. In the third complex, electrons are received by the cytochrome C1. Then cytochrome C1 transfers the electrons to iron sulfur protein, which then donates the electron to the cytochrome B. These all redox reactions, then electrons are transferred to cytochrome C, which is intermediate protein, which is used to donate electrons to the first complex. The redox reaction inside the third complex causes the pumping of 4 hydrogen ions to intermembrane space. In the next step, the cytochrome C donates the electrons to the fourth complex. In the fourth complex, the electrons are the first received by the copper ions, which are of type A. Then copper ions donates the electron to the cytochrome A. Then cytochrome A transfers the electrons to the copper ion, which are of type B. These copper ions then transfer the electron to the cytochrome A3. The cytochrome A3 donates the electrons to the final electron acceptor, which is the oxygen. The oxygen combines with 2 hydrogen ions in the matrix and get reduced to water. These redox reactions in the fourth complex causes the pumping of 2 hydrogen ions to the intermembrane space. All this pumping of hydrogen ions into the intermembrane space causes the generation of higher concentration of hydrogen ions into the intermembrane space. Inner mitochondrial membrane is impermeable to ions, so hydrogen ions cannot cross the membrane as such. Here comes the role of a special enzyme called ATP synthase. ATP synthase is present in the inner mitochondrial membrane and uses the flow of hydrogen ions from higher concentration to lower concentration to generate to generate energy. This energy is used to convert ADP into ATP. Next slide. Phosphorylation step, chemiosmosis. During chemiosmosis,
Hello everyone, my name is Masood Hassan and I will continue. Uh, Next step is phosphorylation step, which is also known as chemiosmosis. During chemiosmosis, the free energy from the series of reactions that make up the electron transport chain is used to pump hydrogen ions to across the membrane, establishing an electrochemical gradient. Hydrogen ions in the matrix space can only pass through the inner mitochondrial membrane through a membrane protein called ATP synthase. As protons move through ATP synthase, ADP is turned into ATP. Next. Okay. So let's summarize the oxidative phosphorylation here. We know, as you all know, that oxidative phosphorylation consists of two steps: electron transport chain and chemiosmosis. So here, at the matrix of the cell, NADH is converted to NAD plus, reduced to NAD plus, and it releases two electron. And the proton from NADH passes through the inner membrane to the intermembrane space, the proton. Then these two electrons passes to the cubic and here also FADH2 is converted to FAD. Here FADH2 also gives two electrons. So these electrons from cubic goes to complex 3. This is complex 1 and this is complex 3. So goes to complex 3. Here also proton gradient occurs. So as you can see that all the protons gradient here in proton gradient is increasing here. So this started the proton motive force. The electron then passes from complex 3 to cytochrome C, and cytochrome C passes the electron to complex 4. The complex 4 passes this electron, uses this two electron to react with oxygen and hydrogen to form water. All the hydrogen or the proton that increases its gradient here, it start to move as because of the proton motive force. It increases the move to the ATP synthase. This membrane is the ATP synthase. When the proton moves through the ATP synthase, the ADP reacts with phosphorus to convert to ATP. Thus, our ATP is produced here. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I am Arnima Rajiv and I am going to discuss about the efficiency of ATP production in aerobic respiration. Theoretically, there is a yield of 38 ATP molecules per glucose during cellular respiration. Although there is such conditions which is generally not realized because of losses such as the cost of moving pyruvate from glucose, phosphate and ADP substrates of ATP synthesis into the mitochondria. All are actively transported using carriers that utilize the stored energy in the proton electrochemical gradient. Actually, there 38 ATP is produced in respiration, but for the transport of uh, pyruvate, which is a product of glucose, and phosphate and ADP, which are the substrates of ATP synthesis, requires from the mitochondria to the mitochondria requires active transport. As we all know, active transport requires energy or ATP. For this transport and all, there is a utilization of some ATP molecules. Next slide. This is the overall summarization of the ATP production in aerobic respiration. Before coming to this slide, let me remind you that generally we are taking the values of one NADH2 equal to 3 ATP and one FADH2 equal to 2 ATP. But actually the values are 1 NADH2 equal to 2.5 ATP and 1 FADH2 equal to 1.5 ATP. But for glycolysis, there is a little bit change in the values. For one NADH2, the value is 1.45 and sometimes it may be 2.5. Then going to the slide, in glycolysis preparative phase is an ATP consumed phase. So 2 ATP is consumed by phosphorylation of glucose and fructose 6-phosphate. And in the glycolysis payoff phase, 4 ATP is produced by substrate level phosphorylation and 2 NADH, that means 2 times of 1.5 that equal to 3 ATP is produced by oxidative phosphorylation. In oxidative decarboxylation of pyruvate to NADH, that means 2 times of 2.5 equal to 5 ATP is produced by oxidative phosphorylation, and in Krebs cycle 2 ATP is produced directly by substrate level phosphorylation and 6 NADH, that means 6 times of 2.5 equal to 15 ATP is produced by oxidative phosphorylation and 2 FADH2, that means 2 times of 1.5 equal to 3 ATP is produced by oxidative phosphorylation, and so total there is a yield of 30 to 32 ATP is produced per glucose molecule in aerobic respiration. Next slide. Next, we are going to discuss about the factors affecting aerobic respiration. The factors are: first, the oxygen content of the atmosphere; second, the effect of temperature; third, the effect of light; fourth, the effect of water contents; fifth, the effect of respirable materials; sixth, the effect of carbon dioxide concentration; seventh, protoplasmic conditions; and eighth, other factors. Next slide. Let's move on to one by one. Oxygen content of the atmosphere. Minimum oxygen concentration at which aerobic respiration takes place, which is 10% of oxygen. In some cases, a direct relation between the respiration rate and oxygen concentration has been reported. Generally, as concentration of oxygen increases, the rate of respiration also increases. But below 10% of oxygen, there is a slight decrease in rate of respiration, and at 5%, there is a definite retardation of rate of respiration. And in effect of temperature affecting the activity of enzymes, Q10, or the temperature coefficient equal to 2 or 3. Optimum temperature is 20 to 30 degrees Celsius. At a higher temperature, the rate of respiration declines with time, and at very low temperature, the respiration rate is insignificant. The optimum temperature for the rate of respiration is 20 to 30 degrees Celsius, and the temperature coefficient is must be 2 to 3 for the normal rate of respiration. But at a higher temperature than that decreases the rate of respiration, and at very low temperature there is rate of respiration is insignificant or there is no respiration. Next, coming to effect of light. With increasing light intensity, the temperature of the surrounding atmosphere also increases, thus affect the rate of respiration. When light intensity in our atmosphere increases, it gradually increases the temperature. As we studied earlier, when temperature becomes very high, there is a decrease in rate of respiration. Next, coming to effect of water contents. Very low water content in dry seeds and star tubers is responsible for very feeble rate of respiration. In wilted tissues, the stored starch converted into sugars, which increase the rate of respiration, while in well-hydrated plants, the rate of respiration is not likely to be affected much by slight changes in the water control. In plants with which have the very high level of water in them, they are not affected by when a slight changes in water occurs, but in plants which didn't have enough water with them will affect very much when there is a slight decrease in water. Next slide. Effect of respirable material. Higher availability of respiratory substrate increases the rate of respiration up to a certain limit. When the amount of respiratory substrate increases, the rate of respiration also increases, but this increase is only up to a limit. The effect of CO2 concentration. Increase in CO2 concentration and absence of oxygen adversely affect the rate of aerobic respiration. As we all know, when concentration of CO2 increases, the rate of respiration decreases. Protoplasmic conditions. Young growing cells exhibit high rate of respiration as compared to mature cells. Young growing cells have a higher amount of protoplasm than the older tissues. So the younger tissues with a higher amount of protoplasm have higher rate of respiration than the older tissues. And the other factors, a number of chemicals inhibit respiration, example azides, cyanides, malonides, carbon monoxide, etc. Respiration rate is accelerated by low levels of ethylene, CO2, chloroform and ether compounds. Some chemicals inhibit the rate of respiration while increase it. The monovalent cations like NaCl, KCl, etc. increase the rate of respiration while divalent cations decrease the rate of respiration. And thank you.
Hello everyone, this is Bhavya. In this section, I am going to present the another type of cellular respiration. It is anaerobic respiration. Now, what is anaerobic respiration? Anaerobic respiration is a process of producing cellular energy without oxygen. Anaerobic respiration is a relatively fast reaction and produces 2 ATP, which is far fewer than aerobic respiration. Anaerobic respiration is a type of cellular respiration where respiration takes place in the absence of oxygen. The process is also called fermentation. Now, mechanism of anaerobic respiration. The mechanism of anaerobic respiration or fermentation is similar to the common pathway of aerobic respiration up to glycolysis. Glycolysis breaks down glucose enzymatically in several steps to form 2 molecules of pyruvate, that is 3 carbon compound, 2 ATP molecules and 2 NADH plus H plus. Pyruvate is anaerobically break down to yield various products depending upon the organism and the type of the tissue. Next slide please. Here we can see both aerobic and anaerobic respiration. Anaerobic respiration occurs in cytosol. Cytosol is also known as cytoplasm. Here aerobic respiration occurs in mitochondria. Glucose is 6 carbon compound. It converts into pyruvic acid by incomplete oxidation and it converts into alcohol plus CO2 and lactic acid. Anaerobic respiration occurs in 2 steps, glycolysis and fermentation. Whereas aerobic respiration, in the presence of oxygen, glucose is converted into pyruvic acid. It converted into CO2 plus H2O and produces ATP. Next slide, please. Now, types of anaerobic respiration. There are 2 types of anaerobic respiration, alcoholic fermentation and lactic acid fermentation. Next slide, please. Alcoholic fermentation. Under anaerobic conditions. Anaerobic conditions means in the absence of oxygen, the pyruvate can be transformed to ethanol where it first converts into a midway molecule called acetaldehyde, which further releases carbon dioxide and acetaldehyde is converted into ethanol. In alcoholic fermentation, the electron acceptor called NAD+ is reduced to form NADH. The exchange of electrons that occur in the process helps to build ATP. Glucose is converted into glucose 6-phosphate. It is converted into fructose 6-phosphate and it is converted into fructose 1,6 bisphosphate. This is the process of glycolysis as we learned before. Now here pyruvate is converted into acetaldehyde. Here in fermentation, electron acceptor called NAD+ is reduced to NADH and it is converted into ethanol to form and to build ATP molecules. It is a fast process and it produces 2 ATP molecules. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Rehana Ravi. I want to explain the topic alcoholic fermentation preparation and its steps. Alcoholic fermentation. Alcoholic fermentation is usually done by using yeast act on carbohydrates to produce ethanol and carbon dioxide. Yeast Saccharomyces cerevisiae which cause fermentation. Rice, malt, fruits, etc. which are source of carbohydrates, are used to react with yeast. Alcoholic fermentation is done some kinds of bacteria using these microorganisms convert sugar in ethyl alcohol and carbon dioxide. Alcoholic fermentation begins after glucose enters the cell. The glucose is break down into pyruvic acid. The pyruvic acid then convert to CO2 ethanol. The steps to prepare alcohol using yeast. The first step to break down complex carbohydrates into simpler ones. For example, if you are starting from starch in grains like wheat or barley, the grain is heated with hot water to extract the starch and then warmed with malt. Malt is germinated barley, which contains enzyme which break down the starch into a simpler carbohydrates called maltose, that is cetol H22 or 11. Maltose has the same molecular formula as sucrose but contains two glucose units joined together, where sucrose contains one molecule, one glucose, one fructose units. Yeast is then added and the mixture is kept warm, that is 35 degrees Celsius, for perhaps several days until fermentation is complete. Air is kept out of the mixture to prevent oxidation of the ethanol produced to ethanoic acid. Enzymes in the yeast first convert carbohydrates like maltose or sucrose into even simpler ones like glucose and fructose. Both C6H12O6 and convert these in turn into ethanol and carbon dioxide. Yeast is killed by ethanol concentration in excess of about 50%, and that limits the purity of the ethanol and that can be produced. The ethanol is separated from the mixture by fractional distillation to give 96% pure ethanol. Thank you.
Whose slide is this? Kindly start.
Hello, I'm Vanessa RS.
Sorry, we can't hear you. Hello?
Hello, hello.
Sorry, we can't hear you.
Hello.
Yeah, please read.
This is not my presentation.
It's your presentation. Kindly read. Okay, so because Renisha's internet connection is slow, she can't read, so I'll read it. Renisha, please turn off your mic if you don't want to read. Renisha, can you hear me? Renisha? Sorry about that. Let me start with lactic acid fermentation. Lactic acid fermentation is a metabolic process by which glucose or other 6 carbon sugars, also disaccharides of 6 carbon sugars, For example, sucrose or lactose are converted into cellular energy and the metabolic lactate, which is lactic acid solution. It is an anaerobic fermentation reaction that occurs in some bacteria and animal cells such as muscle cells. Process. Lactate dehydrogenase catalyzes the interconversion of pyruvate and lactate with concomitant interconversion of NADH and NAD+. In homolactic fermentation, one molecule of glucose is ultimately converted to 2 molecules of lactic acid. Heterolactic fermentation, in contrast, yields carbon dioxide and ethanol in addition to lactic acid in a process called the phosphocatalysis pathway. Please change the slide. Condition for lactic acid fermentation. Conditions for conditions for fermentation. Carbon sources: pure sugar or crude sugars or molasses 10 to 18%. Nitrogen sources mostly available in the form of ammonium sulfide. Growth factors can be provided in the form of molasses. The pH that need for lactic acid fermentation is 4.8 to 5.0. Temperature will be 7 to 80 Fahrenheit, which can be controlled by cooling jacket. Time depends on yeast strain. Usual time is between 30 to 72 hours. Yield: 0.4 gallon of ethyl alcohol per 1 gallon of molasses. 90% carbohydrates can be converted into alcohol. Thank you. Next.
Hello, I am Pinky Tiwari and I am going to explain applications of alcohol fermentation. Lactic acid fermentation used in many areas of the world to produce foods that cannot be produced through other methods. The most commercially important genus of lactic acid fermenting bacteria is Lactobacillus. Through other bacteria and even yeast are sometimes used. Two of the most common applications of lactic acid fermentation are in the production of yogurt and sauerkraut. Application of alcoholic fermentation in fermented fish. In some Asiatic countries, fish is traditionally fermented with rice to produce lactic acid that preserve the fish. Examples of these dishes include Burona Isda of the Philippines, Norezisu of Japan, and Plara of Thailand. The same process is also used for shrimp in the Philippines in the dish known as blau blau. Application of alcoholic fermentation in sauerkraut. Lactic acid fermentation is also used in the production of sauerkraut. The main type of bacteria used in the production of sauerkraut is the genus Lyconostoc. Application of alcoholic fermentation in yogurt. When the acidity rises due to lactic acid fermenting organism, many other pathogenic organisms are killed. The bacteria produces lactic acid as well as simple alcohols and other hydrocarbons. These may then combine to form esters contributing to the unique flavor of sauerkraut. Now the next topic is ATP efficiency in anaerobic respiration. Anaerobic respiration gains ATP through glycolysis and through fermentation. In anaerobic respiration, ATP gained through glycolysis and through fermentation is 2 ATP. Now, what are the factors that affect the anaerobic respiration? And enzymes are fundamental to all metabolic pathway in anaerobic respiration, especially key in the internal pathway whereby ethanol is converted via an enzyme called alcohol dehydrogenase into alcohol. There are many factors in which the enzymes can be affected by environmental. However, such factors which can inhibit and in fact stop the enzyme catalyzed reaction from occurring. These factors therefore have an effect on the metabolic pathway involved in anaerobic respiration. So the first factor that affects anaerobic respiration is cellular pH. On a really general level, a lot of enzymes are most productive in slightly acidic pH levels, but often if the pH is very strongly acidic or alkaline, then the enzymes can become denatured. This means that the substrate-specific reaction cannot take place and the rate of reaction can be severely slowed or in some cases completely stopped. Therefore, it could affect the metabolic pathway if the pH concentration are too severe. Now, the other factors that affect the alcoholic fermentations are temperature. Decreased temperature can decrease oxygen delivery to the muscles, which also triggers anaerobic respiration and muscle fatigue. The other factor that affect the anaerobic respiration is the concentration of enzyme and the substrate concentration. If there is a high concentration of enzymes and substrate molecules, then the rate of reaction will be fast. The opposite happens if the concentration of enzymes and substrate are low. The rate of reaction will be slow because there are fewer enzymes and substrate molecules, meaning there is least chances of collision and so a reaction occurring. Thank you.
This is the end of our presentation. Thank you very much.